So, about Nioh 2. So, before we get started, I wanted to introduce the new format. It'll be a lot to get used to, but I'm still keeping with what I usually do. Just a bit different. I've been informed that I'm not so good looking, but I should be represented in my videos more. That's a catch-22, and that doesn't make any damn sense. So, at the end of the day, I had to figure something out. Apparently, it would be more aesthetically pleasing if I looked like, well, not me. So, here I am. Sorta. Apparently, I'm ugly or something, so who knows. So, this guy will be representing me from now on. Anyways, now that's out of the way, onto the video. Nioh 2 is quite obviously a follow-up to the what I would assume to be critically acclaimed first Nioh game. In the first game, you would play as William, a Western man who made his way to Japan for reasons I'm not going to get into, and in this game, you try to kill William, who is still a Western man who still made his way to Japan for reasons I'm still not going to get into. That said, the sequel decided to let you make a custom character to act as a protagonist, so whether or not you select a male or female, your character's name for the story's sake is Hide. The story mode is deceptively long-spanning, as it starts before the beginning of the first Nioh game, and by the time it's over, it has been long past the ending of the first game. Despite this, your character doesn't appear to have aged while the world around you seems to have progressed forward. It's weird. Now, outside of that, there's plenty to go over here, so let's get started. Alright, so let's get this one comparison out of the way early, because the inspirations are obvious here. So if you've not played this game, but you happen to be a Dark Souls veteran, then you can get an idea of what to expect here going into this game. So here's what's the same and here's what's different. Both games are very punishing, as to say it matters very little what armor or stats you have. You will still die very, very easily and often, regardless of style, weapon, anything that you choose. It feels like if Dark Souls had a more Japanese setting, to say. Both games have a wide variety of weapons and ways to use them to make it harder to get bored, so that's good. Both games have a player character summoning system too, of some sort at least, and it does differ a bit, as it's far easier in Nioh 2 to get a friend to fight with you if needed, as they litter every level with NPC summon versions of other player characters. Anyways, both have a bunch of monstrosities of sin that you have to fight, and yeah, as I said, the inspirations here are obvious, blah blah blah, moving on. Now, they differ in plenty of ways as well. There's a stance system that changes the way you use whatever weapon you're deciding to use in this game. Although all weapons have one thing in common in regards to the stance change system. And that would be the speed. Everything from the heaviest weapons to the lightest ones in the game in general have the low stance, as it acts as a fast attack, the mid stance, as it acts as a more powerful but slower attack style, and the high stance, being by far the slowest and most powerful stance with every weapon in the game. This is fine, but I personally find the overall best weapon to be the Tonfa, as I have had the most success with it, but as always, it's good to swap out your weapons, especially when you get bored with one. It doesn't mean the other weapons don't have merit, as they're all generally balanced well, but Tonfa seems to be broken a bit because its combo game, it's just bananas. That being said, its setting is also vastly different from Dark Souls. Rather than being like a Western style with castles and dragons, it is a general method of traversal through the game world being an overworld map. And it's very Japanese, using yokai rather than like dragons and zombies and other crap Dark Souls uses. These games are really gigantic, or these maps are really gigantic, excuse me, and usually end in a boss fight before sprinkling in some cutscenes and booting you back to the overworld map. That map in of itself isn't the only one, as it moves to the next area of the game when you complete one, thereby changing the overworld map to somewhere else in Japan. This also changes the timestamp of the year that it is for the purposes of the story. Kinda unique, kinda weird, kinda cool, I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Now, the bosses of the game are probably the highlight, much like Dark Souls, but they're far worse and far less fun to fight than the bosses in Dark Souls. Keep in mind that when I mention Dark Souls, I'm usually talking about Dark Souls 3 rather than the others, as in my opinion, that was the most polished game in the trilogy. Now, it's not so much that the bosses are bad, they're just not as good as what From Software can make them. And also, many of them border on frustrating at best or just straight up not fun at worst. My videos have a generally positive view, if not all games that I review on here, but a generally positive view of most of the games. And yeah, it's hard to shed any light on how explodey I get when I feel I was ripped off or a death was generally out of my control. It's particularly bad when a game is this punishing at every turn and some regular yokai enemies are fully a slog to fight and always do well against the human player. I mean, at least me, due to the speed of their attacks or the general jank in the way that they fight. Some examples are like the Neurona or the Ipandatara. They both suck and I hate them. So, moving on. Anyways, I know it didn't look like a slog in the footage for those enemies, but when you play the game itself, you'll understand what I mean. So, the level design is what I'll dive into a bit next. So the way they set it up is to have individual sandbox/sublinear levels that you have to complete before moving on to the next. They may not have been able to get away with doing it the way the Souls games do it, but either they didn't know how to from a technical perspective, or this was a very intentional way that they did it and set it up. The game world feels disconnected as a result, and I don't know if that's a choice that they wanted or what the case is, but either way, it's fine. Take it for what it is. Each level does feel entirely distinct from one another though, as there are different obstacles, enemy placements, and levels of verticality to overcome in every level. Now, outside of that, the enemies in each level respawn whenever you go to a shrine, which is the Dark Souls equivalent of a bonfire and functions the same way. Although you don't get every single option from the shrine right out of the gate, you have to progress first to get all the shrine options unlocked eventually. Yay, video games! The shrines are covered in these little quote-unquote good yokai spirits called Kodama? Pajama? Fried llama? I don't know, whatever. Anyways, they serve little to no purpose that I can tell, except the ones that you can rescue in the overworld that let you carry more Estus flasks, let's say. There are also little evil ones called Sujama? Genki Dama? Bananarama? I don't know, whatever. Anyways, you find them around the game maps as well, but instead of rescuing them, you drop a random item from your inventory in exchange for another random item. The new item may or may not be equivalent, but it is what it is. So, speaking of items, this game also features a shop accessed from the overworld map to buy new ones. You can reforge old weapons to try to make them stronger, to some degree anyway, or you can forge brand new ones if you have the materials to do so. You can mess with yokai souls here too. I don't know what that's all about or exactly what I got to do with it. Explain to me in the comments, whatever. A lot of options are available from this menu, including an item called the Book of Reincarnation, available for a nice fat little stack of change, and it then allows you to respec your character, appreciated in any RPG ever. The next thing you can do from the overworld is access your character's MTV crib by going to the My Hut option from the overworld map. There's a bunch of options here too, most of which are trivial. For example, you can randomly turn yourself into a generic ninja for absolutely no reason whatsoever than I can possibly imagine. But if you don't want to be a Ryu Hayabusa knockoff, then change back immediately. You can access your storehouse from here, more or less a place to store extra crap you can't carry. I would personally just let you carry everything at once, which would eliminate the need for a storehouse altogether, but that would be far too convenient, and also, fuck me, right? So, oh yeah, you can change entire loadouts at once here. It's really dope to include something like this in a game, don't get it twisted, but I've never used it in this game. The way the equipment and progression works makes it kinda pointless to do this for any given character build, plus all weapons are available to all characters, so yeah, didn't use it. Another thing you're able to do from here, which I actually used, and I really enjoyed it also, is accessing the yokai and character illustrations. It acts as a bestiary and model viewer, all rolled up into one. They require you to beat enemies, even bosses, a certain number of times to unlock all of an entry, but I still really enjoy this, and all games that I play, really. You can choose which unlocked guardian spirit you have to sit beside you, which is pointless. But, okay, I guess. Thanks for that, Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja. I appreciate it. It's a version of the model viewer that no one cares about. It doesn't even change your equipped guardian spirit. Like, you have one equipped for its abilities, but you're cheating on that one with the other one because it's more emotionally supportive and you like its personality better. don't know, it's weird. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the character creator. I know this is a topic I should have covered at the beginning of the video, much like it's something you would do at the beginning of the game, but that didn't come to pass, and this is my video now, isn't it? So, this is how it's gonna go down. Okay, back on topic. So, I lightweight love this character creator, mainly because no matter what you come up with, you're going to get a great looking human being. Even if you try to purposely make them look like Rocky Dennis, you're still going to get a solid looking created character. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is these character models are absolutely great looking. Get yourself a 4K TV, plug you in a basic ass HDMI cable, and access the character creator in Nioh 2. You can make some ugly folks or some supermodel level 10 out of 10 smoking hot characters. This is not an exaggeration to say that. It really isn't. It's a shame because I want my awesome, badass looking character I just made to be powerful and fight as sexy as they look. But unfortunately, that's where the Souls-like gameplay of Nioh 2 lets them down. It's hard to feel sexy when you're getting your damn teeth kicked down the back of your throat by a big ass weasel. The amount of options in the character creator are a bit limited, however, so don't expect like 150 ways to style your beard or a million hairstyles to make your Hide look like a hair model on the battlefield. There's certainly enough here to make me happy, but more options are always appreciated. While you build your character, Hide's mom and dad comment on various things in regards to part of the character edit option that you selected. It sounds like this.
I can't wait for the day I get to brush my child's hair.
If they're anything like their father, they won't want to sit still for you.
Either way, I like this and it's a good feature. Alright, I'm ready to wrap this video up soon, so can we take a moment just to be in awe that all of these Japanese people are British? It's not that the voice cast did a bad job. No, perfectly serviceable and in fact would sound really good coming from the unmoving lips of a Dark Souls character. But no, it's just that what my eyes are seeing and what my ears are hearing don't match. It's especially jarring when I hear Tokichiro because of how insanely, stereotypically Japanese he looks.
I've been waiting for you. You, read the letter, right? I'm Tokichiro. And you are? Hide. Alright.
This is just nitpicking, sure, and yes, I know I can toggle Japanese voices in the settings, but then I'd have to read subtitles the whole game, and I'd rather deal with this. Anyway, it's about time to wrap this up. I think I've said all I can say. I know there's a lot more to go over, but I think that's about it for this one. And, I'd like to hear what you have to say now. So sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think about the new format, and I hope you like it because it is significantly more work. And, just let me know what you're thinking, and we'll go from there. Hey, it's me, TV's Jason Momoa, aka Aquaman. My man, Cryocross, needs some more subscribers, so why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Maybe leave a like or a comment while you're at it, huh? Alright. Aquaman, yeah. Badass. I'll talk to you later. Oh, thanks, TV's Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Appreciate it there, bud. Why can't I keep it together at the end ever? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, subscribe, obviously. Well, guys, this has been it. This has been the Season 2 opener. What do you think so far? New format's a little weird. Takes some adjusting. We'll get used to it. It'll be fine. Anyway, about the point. Nioh 2 is about as Dark Souls as it gets without actually being Dark Souls. And you know what? That's okay. It does its own thing with the Japanese lore, the style switching or the stance switching, all of that. It does what it can. And that's okay. That's not too bad either. So, yeah, it frustrates me. And if you guys can just see me scream and squeal at some of the stuff that I find to be absolute bull-ish, then you might judge me. So that's why I don't let anybody see that. That being said, it's okay. Not too bad. The yokai thing, it all starts to wear on you. The levels are really long. The game is exceedingly long, and it overstays its welcome a little bit. So for that, I gotta give it not as good as Dark Souls. It's not terrible. It's not worth too low of a score. So probably about a 3 out of 5. And with that, guys, I still want to thank you for staying so sexy on the line. You guys have a good one.